I'm back after a little bit of a break. I was sick a couple of days ago just with a minor cold, so I just pushed the video back to today. So today I'm going to talk about 3 ways that people on the spectrum deal with stress. And I've broken them down into 3 categories, which is creativity, animals, and entertainment. So the first one is creativity, and the way that people deal with stress with creativity is through they can be dancing or just drawing or just anything that's in the creativity field, really. And what it does is it makes them focus on that single thing that they're doing and that alone without having to think. I personally do this a lot. I'm dancing a lot all the time, and honestly when I do that, it's my time where I can just shut my brain off and just basically just focus on what I'm doing. And that actually is probably keeping me sane during this pandemic right now. So yeah, and honestly I've been dancing my whole life and it's helped me a lot. So I do have some experience with the creativity thing, but there can be a lot of other things like listening to music, which helps me a lot, and it actually helps a lot of people on the spectrum too, because especially with earphones, it just shuts the whole world out. You can't hear anything or basically anyone except for what you're listening to. And it just creates a whole world by itself, and it's one where they can actually cope with it. And it's a huge de-stressor for basically anyone, really, because who doesn't like music? Okay, so the second one was animals. Now, as most of you probably know, I do have a dog and 2 birds. And I know a lot of people on the spectrum when they have a lot of stress, then a lot of people say that they should have a pet, like a cat or a dog, or I've heard bunnies sometimes. And basically it's just to have someone there that gets them, really, that shows them emotional support when they really don't get that a lot, because they always don't get emotions. But when there's an animal just there and you just pet them and load them and all that, it really de-stresses everything, because basically they're just there as a support. That's what they're there for, and it's a friend for them and they don't really talk back either. So you don't have to figure out what emotion they're feeling, because you just know what they're feeling, either happy, tired, hungry, or begging. So yeah. So they're basically emotional support, really, and they're just a friend, because you don't have to have a filter with them, or you don't have to make sure you don't say anything wrong, and they're just there as almost like a counselor, because you can get your feelings out, you can talk about your day or anything with them too. And I've talked to mine probably 1,000 times in 5 years. So yeah, that's how some people deal with stress on the spectrum. And the last way is entertainment. Now it's kind of like the other 2 reasons. The 3 reasons I know is basically just shutting the world out is how they deal with stress, because then they can just, calm down and everything. So for the entertainment, that can be anywhere between games or computer or video games. That can be movies, TV shows, streaming services, anything really. And entertainment, and it can also mean outdoor activities too. I know sometimes people on the spectrum, they do that just to calm down and just focus on what they're doing, basically like everyone else. But especially people on the spectrum, they have to shut the world out first before they can calm down, or else everything's just gonna annoy them, basically like anyone else. But here we just, especially when we have emotions and we know what it is, we get more angry at that fact. If we're angry at someone, we get even more angry, because we sometimes don't always know why. especially with me, I know that I've bottled my emotions for like years, and sometimes it just comes out of nowhere, just like this anger or this like sadness or anything really, like any emotion. And it's because we can't deal with our emotions. So at first we have to shut the world out before we can deal with our own emotions. So that's why the 3 ways is just shutting the world out really. And it just depends on how you do that and what helps you. It can be different with anyone, but those are the 3 most common ways to just shut everything out. And also they're healthy ways too. I know some people have like drugs or alcohol or food like that just calms people down or shuts the world out or something, but that's not always healthy because like you can get addicted. And yes, sometimes like with people on the spectrum, they're already getting addicted very easily to things. So basically just it's also healthy ways to not ruin your health. Like it's ways to not ruin your health, like drinking and drugs and all that. So yeah, those are three most common ways to deal with stress if you're on the spectrum. It's also kind of what anyone else would probably do to shut the world out or deal with stress. But yeah, so those are three of the ways that I found that you can deal with stress on the spectrum or not.